Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our news analysis program. We will analyze what is going on the current world and the actuality of the world. We will see what's happening the last week. And the news analysis, we will see the current world economy, current world politics, history, the relations, the conflict and the violence between two countries or between several countries, what is going on from world perspective. We will see this news analysis from the news perspective on last week. Thank you and welcome to our program News Analysis at Natural TV. The first news what we will see the last week had happened like 91 Fethullah Gulen terrorist member groups. The members of Fethullah Gulen terrorist group were arrested for cheating in foreign ministry. And it's almost 91 people and who were involved in exam cheating, and the Turkish government, they find some irregularities in the exam. And if we see Turkish government, they always say the Fethullah Gulen terrorist member, they were involved with some cheating and irregularities in all kind of exam in Turkey. And these 91 people, Turkish government said they will be investigated because they have an involvement in cheatings in 2011, 2012 and 2013 foreign ministry exams. And this is one of the investigation that is ongoing, and they almost suspected 249 people. If we see this kind of arrest has happening in 42 provinces in Turkey, and this kind of arrests were made as a part of investigation on irregularities because they are making some cheating on exam, especially last 3 years. And as you know, there's a Fethullah Gulen terrorist member, and it's a US-based leader, Fethullah Gulen. They worked and they defeated coup of July 15, 2016. And we know there's 251 people were martyred and nearly 2,200 injured by this military and by this coup. Ankara always accused Fethullah of heading long-running campaigning to overthrow the state through the infiltration of Turkish institutions. And this institution including the Turkish military, Turkish police and the Turkish judiciary. They are working as a parallel, what we say that the paramilitary under the government institutions. And they're working almost the last 20 years without informing or without inside the institutions. So this is a really important thing for Turkish government to take initiative against these terrorist members or terrorist groups. So that's news we saw in last week what was going in Turkey. Turkey said that their country's external assets rise 4.6%, while liabilities against non-residents fall 1.5% since 2018 end. So it shows that the Turkish investment agency and the Turkish investment in international level and foreign level is really increasing. Turkish net international investment position NIIP performed better in March, rising 5.4% compared to the end of last year. According to the Turkish Central Bank, they said actually these things Turkish is really increasing their investment position in abroad in international level. If we see that the country difference, what is the Turkish difference between the external assets and the liabilities, it's almost totaled $337.1 billion of a March, the end of this March, and up from $356.2 billion at the end of 2018. That's what the Turkish Central Bank said. And the Turkish assets, as Turkish Central Bank said, is abroad almost increased by 4.6% to hit $241.7 billion during the same period. From last year to the till end of the March. And if we say the Turkey liabilities against non-resident was around $578.8 billion, and which down 1.5% from the end of last year. So that's a Turkish international investment position said it can be either positive or negative. The value of overseas assets owned by a nation minus the value of domestic assets owned by the foreigners, including overseas assets and the liabilities held by a nation's government. So the Turkey thinks that their reserve assets rose 3.5% to reach $96.3 billion, while other investment stood at $92.3 billion. It's indicated that the Turkish rise of 7.4% in the same period of time is their investment is really rising, especially in abroad, for almost 7.4%, as I already said. And if we see the other investment currency and the deposits of bank amounts to $51.4 billion, is increasing 50% compared to the end of 2018. So the Turkish bank said, as regards to sub-items under liabilities, the direct investment at the end of March 2019 recorded $122.4 billion, which indicated 9.7% decrease in comparison to the end of last year. So this is the really good changes in Turkish market economy in foreign countries, and they have a really increasing investment in foreign countries from their it's appraising what we can say. And this is if we say there's a total external loan, the stock of lenders went down to $78.1 billion as of March end, and is falling 4.2% from the end of last year. So totally we can say the loan stock of the other sector recorded $104.4 billion, decreasing by 2.4%. That's what the Turkish Central Bank said. As you know, Turkey is really they have a huge contribution for the world development and world humanitarian contribution. Turkey is one of the most generous country for world humanitarian contribution. And the last week, Turkish agency AFAD, that's what they said, Disaster and Emergency Management Authority, they hands out food packages to the needy people in southern Yemen. We know this, the Yemen is now one of the most humanitarian crisis in the world. That's what the United Nations said. A Turkish agency, AFAD, they were provided and distributed food to poor families and refugees in Yemen, in the southern port city of Aden. And the Disaster Emergency Management Authority, AFAD, said they almost provided some 800 food packages to the needy people who were forced to migrate from Hudaya and Thai cities of Aden. AFAD's Yemen representative Borhan Aslan said some 18,000 food packages will be distributed during Ramadan in Aden, Marib and Thais. That's what actually Turkey is doing in Yemen. And the Yemen situation is really very sad situation, and the conflict is still ongoing. And the conflict already started from 2015, and still Saudi Arabia air campaigning is almost ongoing towards Yemen. And we know this, when the Houthi rebels group captured the Yemen land and the Yemen capital, from that time the conflict has started. And aftermath of this conflict, the Yemen has fallen in so much crisis, especially the humanitarian crisis. There are almost 40 million people are under starvation. They don't have any food. And Turkey's AFAD and Turkey's some state organization, they are working and helping to the people in Yemen, providing food to the Yemeni people to be with them, to say that they are with humanity. They are doing for their to controlling and to contributing for here. To contributing and to resolving the humanitarian crisis. Iran not to threaten the United States, saying it will be Tehran's official aim. That's what US President Donald Trump tweeted last week, and he tried to mean that if Iran threatened to US, it will be really great disaster for Iran. But if we see that Iraqi Shia leader Muqtada al-Sadr, or Shia cleric, he said like he warned USA, if you dragging Iraq into any possible military conflict between the USA and Iran, it will be really disaster for USA, not for Iran. He said like war between Iran and the USA will be the end of Iraq. Any party that would drag Iraq into the war and turn it into a scheme for conflict will be an enemy to the Iraqi people. So like that's really clearly shows that the Iraqi counterpart who are openly and visibly support Iran. So like what US thinks like to make conflict. That's what we are seeing the last couple of weeks there in Bab el-Mandeb area, and especially the Hormuz Strait. There is some hot issue is ongoing conflict between Iran and also some Arab countries, especially Gulf states like Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates, and also USA. They send their some ship, or military ship to this land to make a conflict, to make trade to the Iran. But the things is not going easy. That's what USA thinks, and it shows like the Iran, they have a partner country in this region. That's what we see. That the Iraqi Shia cleric Muqtada al-Sadr said like if Iran or if USA want to Iraq involved with this kind of war, it will be really great disaster for USA, even also the Iraqi people. War is coming. Yeah, that's what we are seeing that in Middle East. Now the issue is Iran and USA. Iranians envoys urges UN to launch regional diplomatic dialogue to ease alarming security situation. That's what is uprising between these two countries, Iran and USA. Because this Iran shows like they are not interested, because the negotiation already happened before. So it is better for UN to make a diplomatic dialogue to ease the alarming security situations, because the condition what is now going on and that's what US said to take again negotiation. But the Iranian Prime Minister Rouhani said this time is not for actually negotiation. This time is for resistance and struggle. And this is the Iranian president said to meet with one of the Shia leader in Tehran. So they mean like this, Iran are not interested for negotiation, and it shows that what America want and what USA want from Iran, that's not actually clear from Iran's side. And also Iran said like what is the deal is on the or the agreement is already done deal. We are not interested for any kind of negotiations. If USA attack on Iran, Iran of course will make a resistance against the USA invasion on Iran. The Middle East is full of really place of war, conflict, violence, killing, murder. That's what actually is still happening in Syria. The Syrian conflict has started from 2011 and is still ongoing. The last week we see that the regime, the Syrian regime, they attacked in Idlib and killed 12 civilian people. And that's what shows that the conflict is never ending conflict. Even they attack on a place where Turkey and Russia make an agreement that it will be the de-escalation place. But now the conflict is ongoing, and still they are killing to the civilian people. As we know, this the 1.5 million people currently reside in Idlib, and half are displaced from other parts of the war-torn country. So as we know, like Turkey, Russia, they make agreement because this place is for civilian people's place and civilian people residing in this place. So we should make a de-escalation and make a ceasefire, and we can make some peaceful situation in this area. But what we see, the Syrian regime, they attack again on this place and kill 12 civilian people. Even till now, they almost killed 455 civilians. In Idlib, if we say that it's from April 25. So within 1 month, they almost killed 455 civilians. It's really huge disaster for the human being. and what we are seeing, what we are witnessed in Syria. Like people try to make a United Nations or like some international organization from Turkey side, from Russia, they try to make de-escalating the situation, de-escalating the war, but it's still the Syrian regime, they are killing the people in that area of de-escalation and the ceasefire area. One of the very important news, that's what we see the last week in a news in top news, the Turkish military staff in Russia for S-400 training. This is really very interesting. Turkey is sending their military staff for training. That's what US always opposing. Like if Turkey make, or if I could take the S-400 from US, from Russia, they will cancel their agreement for F-35. Now what we are seeing, the Turkish defense minister said they are sending Turkish military staff in Russia for training. It's really very good things for Turkish side. Even Turkey always say explaining why S-400, even the F-35 is important for Turkish defense ministry, because Turkey, they have a specific and very visible threat in border area, especially from the terrorist organization who are very active in Syria and Turkish border. For example, like a PKK, PYD and YPJ, they are very actively organizing activities against Turkey. So Turkey need this kind of weapon system or missile control system like S-400. Even they need this air missile system like F-35. So Turkey said like they already sent their military staff for training in Russia. Also, they are saying they send their military staff in USA for training F-35. So it shows like what actually is going on to the world from Turkish side, especially on debating on the issue S-400 and also the F-35. Turkey is doing the very good, balanced politics between USA and Russia, because for Turkey side, both of the things, S-400 and also F-35 is very important, and it's very logical because Turkey is really in threatening situation, and that's why they are sending their military stuff and to both of countries, and they are taking the both of the weapons. Even the Turkish defense minister said like what US always said, like if Turkey buy S-400, they will not give their air system, F-35s. But Turkey said it's an already done deal. They cannot cancel this deal, what already done with Russia. So it shows like Turkey, of course, take their S-400 and also they will take F-35. Even if we see the last time news that Turkish president said like they will produce new weapons S-500, we make a relation with Russia. So it is also another hope for Turkish defense industry. Even if this Turkish defense industry is really uprising, and on the other hand, they need this kind of weaponry system to protect their land from the terrorist organization which are really active in their border area. The most important thing, that's what happened in last week news. If we see the Turkish foreign minister Mevlut Çavuşoğlu went to the Mexico to attend one conference, and in one panel he said Turkey is always opposes foreign intervention and whatever it is, and he mean actually in Venezuela how the foreign country intervened in their internal politics of Venezuela. So that's mean actual Turkish foreign minister. This Turkey is always against and opposes foreign intervention. And he said like we are resorting to undemocratic means for ousting governments. And he mean like this, the Turkey is always supporting the legitimate government. Whoever is working or imposing unilateral sanction to replace the legitimate government, they are always against this. As we know, in Venezuela, Turkish government, they always support the current legitimate government, Maduro government. But we know that the USA and their partner countries like or alliance countries like European Union and other countries, they supported the opposition party which are led by Guaido. And as we know, also Latin America, they also supported the opposition party. But Turkey, China, also Russia, they said like they're opposing this kind of foreign intervention. Turkish foreign ministry, he also said like we will never ever support this kind of intervention, because these kind of things will create endanger the region, not only the one country but the whole region will be endangered, and it will give Sierra more scope for USA or for other country to interfere or to intervene the other country's internal politics. So like even he said he was in Mexico City, in that city for a conference. In that conference he attended and said that Turkey is always working for humanitarian activities and humanitarian diplomacy. They are working for humanitarian activities in Yemen, in Syria, and they almost take 4.2 million Syrian refugees in Turkey. It shows that how much Turkey as a humanitarian towards the refugees, toward the migrant or immigrant people, and they're always positive to the refugees. Even in that conference, I mean, Turkey also meet with the Mexico foreign minister and talk about the Turkey-Mexico relations. Especially this Turkey say they want to increase their trade volume, which can be $1.2 billion, and it will be the almost five-fold within this 15 years. It's really huge investment between two countries, and as it shows that Turkey and Mexico, they have a relation for 90 years. So like Turkey said, like we are also common members of G20 and also OECD, and Turkey has a new initiative, I mean not also Turkey, the group, I mean a very special group in the world, the MICTA, Mexico, Indonesia, South Korea, Turkey and Australia. They have one group, and Turkey said that Mexico and Turkey, they are the common group members in this group, so they need to maybe a partner to increase their investment policy for a future, and that's what shows that Turkey make a $1.2 billion investment between Turkey and Mexico. Thank you so much for watching our news analysis program at Natural TV, and I welcome you to watch the next news analysis program at Natural TV.